Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is September 11, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 154 of me answering some of your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS, and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question or comment from user ZJ1DF. Sorry, it's showing handles now instead of the names. My mother petitioned me together with my son and daughter under 21 years old. I'm waiting for more than 20 years now, and my son and daughter are now 23 and 28 years old. Yeah, unfortunately that's a lot of times that is the case whenever it comes to family preference categories. They do take really long time, some of them especially. And especially if you're in one of the chargeability areas that is, that does have a more accumulated backlog than other areas, than all chargeability areas, then you will be waiting for a very long time. Unfortunately, that's just part of the deal. Ahmed Dad Nan 6144 says, thank you so much, you're very welcome, thank you for watching. Again, thank you so much from Ahmed, you're very welcome, thank you for watching. Moving further to Ruben Lewis YP4QL, good night sir, can tell us what months are they for 2007? Interview, please leave answer in the chat. Thank you. So Ruben, I unfortunately cannot leave answers in the chat just because other people will probably miss it because it is just a chat for that particular video. So if you do have any kind of questions, just drop them like this as a comment under any of the videos and I will address it. Now, in order to give you kind of estimates, very rough estimates, but still estimates, I need a few things. First, chargeability area would be helpful. You don't have to, but it would be helpful. Chargeability area, your priority date, and your family preference category. These three things I do need in order to give the estimates judging by the visa bulletin. Again, they're rough estimates, but at least something. So please let me know and I will be able to get back to you in the next video. Just make sure don't post a response under my comment within your comment because YouTube does not send me notification for those. Just submit it as a separate comment, please. Okay, moving further to the next one from Mohameda Sumaworo 1344. Thank you for your videos. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Moving further to Beta Wicked 1014. I am F1 category, immediate family, and they told me I have to wait my priority date. I am documentarily qualified. Okay, so congratulations on being documentarily qualified. Definitely huge step, huge milestone. The only two things you have left is to do the medical and then the interview. And you can do the medical only once the interview is scheduled. Now, the reason why they told you that you have to wait for the priority date as an F1, it means that on the graph A of the visa bulletin, your priority date has not become current just yet. So if you look at the graph A, and if you're not familiar, you probably, I think you should be already familiar with the visa bulletin, considering that you're already documentarily qualified, so you're that far into the process, so I'm thinking you are familiar. But if you look at the graph A of the visa bulletin, this is the most recent one for September 2023. If you look at the F1, right now for all chargeability area, the immigrant visas are becoming available for those people with priority date of January 1st, 2015. So for example, if you are, let's say, July 2015, right? If you're July 1st, 2015, then it means that you roughly have like 6 months to wait for your priority date to become current. Obviously, keep it in mind that once your priority date becomes current, you still have some time to wait for the interview to be scheduled and all of that administrative processing, which can take a couple months, which can take a few months. Some people wait for quite a long time, for 6 months, for a year. It happens depending on where the embassy is located and how busy they are specifically whenever it comes to immigrant visa processing. But on the plus side, you're really at that very, very final stage, just waiting a little bit more. I know it's annoying to wait, but it's just part of the deal, unfortunately. Dealing with the family reunification, that's part of the deal. Okay, moving further to the next question comment from Guadalupe Marquez 9155. How often do I check with NVC? Should I just follow Bihar the welcome look better says? I get that. Same letter every 60 days. Okay, I'm anxious because I've waited for this petition for 21 years plus 2 more years elapsed. Guadalupe, sorry you've been waiting for so long. 21 years, this is crazy amount of time to wait. I'm thinking you're probably in Mexico chargeability era. That's why you've been waiting for that long. Unfortunately, whenever it comes to Mexico, the wait times are just insane, which is really sad because it's the people that are following the process and doing everything the correct way, doing everything legally, right? If you're doing it through family reunification, it's somebody petitioning for you, somebody who went through the process, background checks, paid the fees, all of that stuff themselves. And now they're petitioning for you, so you have to go through all of that stuff, all the background checks, you pay the fees, and they make you wait for so long. It's really sad. It really is sad, unfortunately. Now, to answer your question, how long you check with the NVC? Yes, whenever it comes to the 60 days, sometimes they send those letters, the 60 day, another 60 day, another 60 days. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes people just wait. So if you are getting those letters, I would say it's better because they are on top of it. They didn't just let it be, because I've seen some cases where it's just a year, 2 years and nothing's happening. But to answer your question, I would say give them about 2-3 months. 2-3 months. If nothing happens, then you send an inquiry. But if you want to be even more effective, instead of submitting the inquiry, the public inquiry with the NVC, I would recommend reaching out to the local U.S. embassy. The U.S. embassy where you will be going through the interview. Call them up and say, hey, my priority date is current, assuming that it is current. You can say you're already documentarily qualified, you've been waiting for that long for an interview, and you were just wondering when it was scheduled, if it was scheduled, and if not, when it will be scheduled. Sometimes they can give that information at the embassy, sometimes they don't give that information. Again, don't be upset if they don't give that information. But it is worth a shot, to see if they can give you that information. Because if you get somebody nice on the phone and they tell you, that would be very helpful, because it does help with the with worrying, and at this point, I would say there isn't much worrying left to do because you're already documentarily qualified. Really, the only thing you're waiting is for that interview to be scheduled, and hopefully it's going to be sooner than later. Okay, moving further to the next one from Lakshika Mascaren Haas 6799. I am in this stage. All right, so you're already documentarily qualified, waiting for the interview. That's good stuff. It's, like I said, it's a huge milestone. Moving further to PFP 1111. Hi, in case of H3 trainee visa, the trainee should not be employed in USA. Well, here's the thing. You're saying that trainee should not be employed in the USA, but the reason why you are applying for a visa, it is the employment visa. So even the training program, the reason why you are petitioning for a trainee is to eventually potentially become an employee of the company. You don't just have someone come, train, and then you leave them. That would be a J1. That would be an exchange program, not an employment-based program. So if you are doing H3, whether you're the petitioner or the beneficiary, and I'm sorry I didn't even read the rest of your thing, but if you are doing the employment-based, non-immigrant employment-based worker at H3, it is a trainee visa, yes, but you apply with a potential employment in the future, not just like, oh yeah, somebody coming for training and then leaving and that's it. So let me read the whole thing. So my petitioner did not fill the date of intended employment, part 5 number 1, which he definitely should have. The petition was returned and the notice read that information was missing on that point. So the petitioner gave clarification and resubmitted the form. It was returned again. Please advise what to do. Okay, the reason why it was returned is exactly why I said is because H3 is an employment-based visa. Yes, it is training, but it is in mind that there will be employment that is followed. And in these situations, the employment start date, it would be either in the future or most of the times whenever it comes to the trainee visas, it is put as the start of the training program, basically, because what is a training program? You are, it's a paid training. You are hiring somebody as a trainee first, so they start the employment on the day the training starts, because they are, they're part of the company, they're getting paid, maybe not the full salary, but partial salary, the training salary, and then let's say, 2 weeks or 2 months down the road, they become a full-time, basically, not even full-time, because training is full-time too a lot of times, but they become, part of the company, an employee or whatever, they get promoted to the actual whatever position. But yes, no, in application like I-129, you can't have that, not fill out the date of intended employment and expect that to be accepted, because it is the employment-based petition. So hopefully that makes sense. You got two things to kind of go over. You should go over first with the petitioner who is petitioning for you, and talk to them and ask them what exactly they're planning to do. Because if they're just planning to have you come here for free as a trainee and you train with them for a month and then they let you go, then this is not going to work. This is not the application that they should be submitting. But if they are legitimately planning to train you, and most of the times this training, especially with programs like this, with the petitions like this, it is paid training. In that case, then you guys will have to determine when the training starts, and that date of intended employment, it definitely has to be filled out. So hopefully that helps. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them. Just make sure not to ask them under my comment, again, because YouTube, they don't show me on this wall those replies for whatever reason. Just submit it as a separate comment somewhere. Okay, moving further to the next question, comment from Antontoba Jenny 4501. Hi, thank you for educated video. You're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Please, I have a question. How early can I file for asylum after arrival in USA? After a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months? Oh, so thank you very much for asking. That's a really good question. Most of the times, the question is how late after arriving to the United States you can file for the asylum, not how early. So you can file for asylum literally the moment you enter the United States of America. As long as you are on the territory of the United States of America, you can submit the asylum application. So it can be, you enter today, you can submit it today, tonight, or tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. In fact, the sooner you apply, usually it looks better in the eyes of the asylum officer that is reviewing the application, that is doing the interview. Why? Because, think about this, right? If someone comes into the United States, hangs around here for, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, for a year, and then submits an application for asylum, they go for an interview, I would ask as an asylum officer, I would ask something like, you've been here for 6 months, or you've been here for a year, and only then you decided to file for asylum. And now you're claiming that you're scared to return back to the country where you came from. So why did you wait the whole 6 months or the whole year before filing the application? Did you consider going back? Did you have hesitations? Are you not so sure if there is a reasonable fear for you to go back? You see, it looks a little bit, it looks a little bit weird. But if you submit it immediately, this is your priority. Then, as as an officer, who is looking at this, it'd be like, okay, so this person, they knew that it's United States is the only place where they can find safety. They know that they cannot go back. They came here, they knew it, and they did not hesitate, and they applied for asylum. So that's kind of the logic. But it is generally not recommended to apply, to wait past the 6 months, because then you definitely start, you are allowing for these questions to, to materialize, and you definitely don't want that. As soon as you can apply for the asylum, you should do that. Okay, let's move on to the next question from Denise Dufour. Denise, thank you so much for another comment. Always appreciate it. As you can see, Denise is one of the top commenters on this channel. This is what this icon means. So Denise says, hi sir, I meant by the AOS as affidavit of support. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. I thought it was adjustment of status, and I was wondering, I was like, Dennis, are you in the United States or are you not? So, okay, affidavit of support. I have submitted them and financial documents, so waiting for them to accept them and become documentarily qualified. And the graph on the NVC portal says, I'm nearing to the review of case and finally then interview. And I wanted to ask if that graph that shows submit civil documents, pay IV immigrant visa fees, submit civil documents, is everyone different? Because I had the chance to see a friend owns with the same visa class F. Her own is different from mine. Dennis, yes. So the internal portal one is going to be different. And the reason for that is because obviously everyone submits the documents for review at a different time. So yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be based on when the documents were submitted. So for you, absolutely, it's going to be different than for somebody else who submitted, let's say, 2 months earlier or 3 months earlier. But typically these reviews, especially the very first one, they are fairly quick, I would say, like 2-3 months, and they review it. Hopefully everything is approved on the very first submission. That would be nice. So once it is reviewed, please come back, let us know. It would be nice to hear. It would be nice to hear the progress, Dennis. You're getting there. You are getting there. Okay, let's move on to the next question from beloved Voyager. Do they assign receipt number and give notification of receipt to rejected applications? No, they don't. No, it is only when they accept the application, they give the receipt, the notice of receipt. If they did not accept the application, they send the whole application back. And they just say, nope, there's this, you need to fix this, we didn't accept it because of that. So yes, so if they did give you the receipt, it means they have accepted the application, so that's the good news. Okay, moving further to Vali HDH 1587. Vali, thank you so much for another question. I appreciate it. So Vali says, thank you for answering to my queries. Now another question raised that which of these options should be available, TPS or family reunification? Which one has more beneficial? I have heard that by parole, your process of case will be lengthy and have to do all medicals again and reprocess it inside US, and your green card process will be longer, but with the reunification case, you will be able to get your green card just within a few weeks after you arrive in US. Kindly guide me which option is better. Vali, it's great that you have questions like the options, not questions. Well, it's great that you have questions too, but it's really great that you have options, like I said in my previous response. Yes, it is true. It is true, the TPS, it does require some process with family reunification. I mean, with family, that's the thing with the family reunification, a lot of people don't realize, is that once you get that immigrant visa in your passport, that immigrant visa, the stamp, I-551 stamp, that's what it is a temporary permanent resident card. So you come into the United States of America as a permanent resident with that immigrant visa. And it's just a matter of, few weeks. They say it's 90 days after entering the United States, so it's 3 months, but usually it's a lot faster than that you actually get your printed permanent resident card in the mail, and that's it. You enter the country as a permanent resident. So of course, yes, absolutely, if your family reunification works out before your TPS, I mean, yes, absolutely, it is a much better option. But again, it's good that you have options, and in case if there is some kind of delays with the family reunification case, at least you are able to come here to the United States of America and be here on the TPS. So I would say keep family reunification as the priority, and then the TPS as a backup plan. If the family reunification works out first, that's great. But if it does not work out first, hey, then you have the TPS and you have the family reunification going as well. Okay, so let me post my response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Bhagwati Sahadeo. Bhagwati, thank you so much for another comment question. I really appreciate it, as always. So Bhagwati says, hi sir, good night. My priority date is November 2015. First F1 family preference category, first family preference category, and was qualified June 2023, so just recent. How long more do I have to wait for the interview letter? Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the graph A of the visa bulletin, because maybe potentially you might have some more waiting to do before the availability of the immigrant visa, which I mean can add significant amount of time. So let's see. So I'm assuming you're all chargeability area or already documentarily qualified. So you are in November 2015, F1, and right now F1 is on January 2015, and you're November 2015. So your immigrant visa is not available just yet. Let's see, November is a month 11. So you roughly have 10 to 11 more months. So about a year more waiting, and that's assuming that visa bulletin will keep on moving, because you have to keep in mind that sometimes visa bulletin, it does not move 1 month every month. Sometimes it moves more, sometimes it goes back. So you will have to stay on top of the visa. If there was a time for you to pay attention to the visa bulletin, it is now, really. It is definitely now. Make sure, check, we're gonna have October 2023 visa bulletin coming out in the literally next few days. It should be coming out. So I will make a video on that, as I do on every visa bulletin edition. And I compare it to the previous months and discuss the movement on each single family preference category on it. So make sure to stay on top of the visa bulletin, but yes, you do have still, unfortunately, some more waiting to do. On the plus side, you are already documentarily qualified, so all the, I would say, the hard stuff is behind, although for some people, for me, medical examination was the hardest, because I don't like doctors, but for most people, they're fine with it. But yes, it's really just some more waiting to do, waiting for your priority date to become current, and that's really it from then on. Then you have your interview scheduled, you do your medical examination, and good to go. All right, let's move on to the next question from Sophia Trail 4000 IR5. Documentarily qualified December 2022. Awesome. Priority date 2019. Still waiting for interview appointment. Okay, so you have been waiting, let's see, December 2022. So you've been waiting about like 9-10 months for the interview to be scheduled. Here's the thing, Sophia. In your situation, I'm thinking the interview has already been scheduled. I'm pretty sure the interview is already scheduled. The only reason why you don't know the date when the interview is going to be is because it's not 30 days ahead. In some situations it's 60 days, but most of the times it's 30 days. The reason why you don't get the official interview date announcement is because, let's say if your interview was scheduled for example, December 1st, 2023, you will get your announcement November 1st, 2023, so that you have 30 days to do the medical examination. That's the only reason why they're doing it. What you can do, if you want, you can definitely, it's worth a shot, okay? You can call the U.S. Embassy, the local U.S. Embassy where your interview is going to be, and you can tell them, you can say, hey, I am in immediate relative category, your immigrant visa is already available. It was already available for a long time. And you can say that you have been, documentarily qualified since December 2022, and you wanted to see when your interview was scheduled for. Sometimes, in some cases, a person on the phone, they can look into the system because it's not an official announcement of the interview date. They can take a look at their scheduling system and they can say, oh, okay, your interview was scheduled for this day, and you should receive your interview notice, email or mail, whatever, however you have the contact set up from the NVC, 30 days or 60 days before the interview date, whichever one. In some situations they do 60. I've seen some situations where they do 60 days before the interview, but most of the times it's 30. Don't be upset if they don't give you that information, because it's at their courtesy to give out such information. Most of the times they say we can't give you that information, but it is worth a shot. It is worth a shot. But you should be, most of the times that's how long it takes, about close to a year, between 6 months to a year, and you're nearing the year. So I'm thinking you should have your interview date very, very soon. And when you do, please come back to this channel and let everyone know. Post a comment that your interview has been scheduled. That would be really nice, because it's really great for people to read questions and hear some discussion about them. But it is also really nice for people to read the resolutions, and realize that, okay, things are moving along. Okay, let's move on to the next question, comment. It looks like there was an answer placed from SatSat1162, and SatSat, thank you so much for being publicly subscribed to this channel. That's what this icon means. I really, really appreciate it. So SatSat says, hello, bro. Thank you so much for how you've been helping us. You're very welcome. Thank you for being part of this channel. I was documentarily qualified since October 2022. Congratulations. My VC is F11, so the family preference category is F1, and F11 is the subcategory, which is the F1. And priority date is 22nd September 2015. I'm not yet scheduled. Please, can you tell me something about it? Thank you. May God bless you. And then Alpha Bila Coroma 7795 says which country, which yes would help us to know. But I'm assuming I'll assume that you're in all chargeability area, and we're gonna take a look again at the graph A since you are already documentarily qualified. Yes, it's January 2015, and you are September 2015, end of September 2015. So you roughly have about like 9 months before the availability of the immigrant visa, and that's assuming that the visa bulletin will keep on moving 1 month at a time. Again, for just like I said for Bakwari, for you, that is, if there was a time for you to stay on top of the visa bulletin and keep checking it every single month, the new one comes out, that is now, absolutely now. So roughly, as of right now, about 9 months. And then you have to keep in mind that there is some administrative processing for US Embassy, for doing all the scheduling, scheduling the interview, which might take some time as well. But roughly about 9 more months for your priority date to become current, your immigrant visa to become available, and then from then on, getting your interview. So let me post the answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from King Germain 705. Good day, sir. Do you think the visa bulletin will make a big jump for this October family-based F1 category? Thanks for answering. King Germain, honestly, we can only hope. It's right around time where we do see some major moves on the visa bulletin because of the, because of the way they have their fiscal year set up and the way the whole system works in general. So I really do hope in the next, it literally is next few days, the brand new visa bulletin will be coming out. So as soon as it comes out, the first priority, I'll make the video on it. And honestly, I hope that there is a movement for everybody. I always hope that there is a movement for all the family preference categories. But we will see. We will see. It's really hard to predict visa bulletin these days. What's going to happen, because you think that, well, since we are now, everything is processing, since we're moving along, we should see some movement, and then bam, new visa bulletin comes out, and it's not just there is no movement, it's actually going backwards, it's retrogressing. So we will see. That's really the only thing that I can say. Like I said, next few days, and we'll find out. So So let me pause the answer here, and we're gonna probably do one more question for today and then leave everybody else for tomorrow's volume. So from Grebe Vlogger 3525, so Grebe says, after approval of I-130, how long does it take for spouse of a US citizen to get immigrant IL? I'm assuming that's an immigrant visa. Okay, so the good news is that, you know, the spouse of a US citizen is an immediate relative category. Once the I-130 is approved for immediate relative, someone in the immediate relative category, the immigrant visa is already available. You don't have to wait for it. You don't deal with the visa bulletin, nothing like that, which is fantastic. However, not so good news is that you still have to go through the NVC, you still have to become documentarily qualified, you still have to wait for the interview to be scheduled, and going through the medical examination, going through the interview, all right? And all of that, besides the waiting for the approval of I-130, it can easily take about a year and a half, you know, going through the documentary qualification process and then waiting for the interview to be scheduled. So that's one of the reasons why I always say, you know, if you are planning, if you are thinking about the family reunification petition, start it now. Start it as soon as possible. If everybody's eligible, start it now, because it takes time. Even if it's immediate relative category, it still takes time, because there is stuff that is involved. There is NVC, there is US Embassy, there's stuff to do. Just like for, you know, the only difference is that you are not dealing with the visa bulletin, you are not dealing with the backlog, which is obviously a huge plus. But thank you very much, everyone, for asking your questions today. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you found my answers helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below, and I will be happy to address them in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.